So we're looking to make sure that it's not our design that we impose on them, but
Mhm.
it's something that comes out of who they are, how they use their space, how they live their life. And we want to make sure that a design like that is made for them.
It's no house is the same. Every one of our houses is
Every
different.
one of our houses is different because every one of our clients is different.
Right, right.
And so we try to design for the client, not for how we think it should be.
We're here now with Cal Dueck, the founder. I'm lucky I get to interview not only the founder and my business partner, but my uncle as well. So thank you very much. We're going to start talking a little bit about Dueck Builders and a little bit about the origin. Cal, do you want to start? Just talk about yourself a little bit. Tell the story from your side.
Well, I was just thinking about that. I grew up on a farm and grew up with needing to do all the seeding, swathing, combining. And one of our goals always was when we were seeding and swathing especially is to make the rows straight. And the only way to make a row straight while seeding was to look at both what you're doing at the present moment and doing and at the end of the field. So you had to always pick a spot at the end of the field and look at what you were doing. And both always had to coordinate. So it was always completely present to the moment and also paying attention to the future at all moments. And anytime you forgot that throughout the day, you would have a very wiggly, crooked row and everybody could see what you'd done. And sure enough, if I ever did that, all my friends would make fun of me. So
So I'm gonna pick on your brothers a little bit. Who made the straightest rows growing up?
oh boy, I don't know. I think I did.
Yeah, okay, okay. And maybe you'll ask the most crooked one. Oh no, we'll save that
Yeah.
one. Yeah, so okay, you started with a farming background when you were anywhere from 12 to
8 years old, 9 years old, I
yeah,
was running tractors on the field. So
it started young.
yeah.
Yeah. And after farming, what kind of when you moved off the farm, where did life take you?
Took me to academics. I did a bachelor's degree and then a master's degree, and started with a PhD and did everything except the dissertation.
Oh wow. And that was here in Manitoba or where was?
The bachelor's degree was from University of Manitoba, and then I did a master's degree in Vancouver, and then started my PhD in Toronto.
Okay, so traveled around for some of this
Yeah.
stuff. Got to see a lot of different houses,
Yeah,
I
I got to see
imagine.
a lot of different houses, different parts of Canada, throughout all this, I was trying to put my way through school by doing a lot of painting, renovating, that kind of stuff. So lots of different experiences in different areas.
Lots of customer sales and dealing with how to deliver that final product.
Yes,
Like you
yeah.
said, looking ahead and looking back. When so you answered that a little bit about how your academic and farming background influenced the values of the company. When you started Dueck Homes in 2006, did you know right away that it was going to be a career, or was it kind of a let's try this?
No, it was one of those things. I was completely involved in the present moment, and so every house entails looking toward the end of the house and being involved in the present moment. And so it was not necessarily looked at as a long-term career, but as a keep looking ahead to the next 10, 12 months, where are the leads coming from, how are we showing the houses that we've built, how can we proceed to the next build.
It's not like it was just a build a house on the side thing. It was let's build this and let's try to do more of these. But
Yeah, this was supposed to be, I wanted a job that could pay. And academics, I realized pretty quickly, wasn't going to be able to pay my way with two young boys, raising two boys. It wasn't going to be able to pay my way.
to
So
where you wanted to be.
yeah.
Yeah. So when you started, was the family fully on board, or I mean, there must have been some nervousness about taking this leap of faith. Was Anna fully on board?
Anna always trusted me. She just said she never questioned it. She trusted that I would do what I had to do. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was great to have her support, her confidence, her trust, and not she would never second guess me. It
Yeah.
was you do what you have to do, and I'll do what I have to do, and we'll make it work.
Yeah.
So,
You can take on the world with that kind of support.
yeah.
When you started building for other people, why did you start doing cost plus?
Well, at the beginning, it was just because I had no idea how to price anything.
Yeah. Yes.
And had I done that at the beginning, because I'm an eternal optimist, I think I can do any job in 10 hours that's actually going to take me 20. And so if I'd been pricing it out in advance, I would have priced it out way too inexpensive.
Yeah.
As it turned out, my first 3 homes were kind of done that way because I didn't have full records. And so I kind of priced those out before I knew exactly what they cost me. So in the first 3 homes we built, I managed to not lose money.
Eke out the black ink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So, and that showed me at the same time, because people were asking for specific things, then it became very easy to just say, okay, we're going to do this cost plus. You see exactly what my profit is. I want to be able to make a living, and you want to have a fair price. So let's get together and make sure that it works.
So as you got better, you've been doing this 20 years, as you got better at pricing and now you know what things cost and you know what kind of costs are going into things, why didn't you switch to fixed price?
Because I think it's a better relational tool. I think everything we do depends on the relationships we have, and a fixed price is easy to hide all kinds of costs in there that the customer doesn't know about, and they end up, in my mind, they may end up paying for things they don't need or don't want, or paying more than they should. It's easy. It would be easy to do that.
Okay. They almost have less control if it's fixed price.
Yeah, there's no control basically for the customer if it's a fixed price, right?
Right.
I give them the price and say, this is it. They have no control about how to change that.
Right.
They may say, well, what can we do? But at the same time, then it's easy to hide any costs that they shouldn't really be paying for.
Right.
And with this, there's nothing to hide. We don't hide anything. It's all out in the open. If the sewer costs 15,000, we don't charge them 30,000 for it. They know what they're paying for. They get what they're paying for.
And so how do you, I mean, that's a lot of transparency. How do you think that changes the customer's experience compared to going and just signing on a dotted line for a $600,000, $2 million home?
It changes it because now it's a team exercise. It's a journey where we travel together with our clients, and it's not just saying, "Hey, we'll helicopter you from here to here."
Right. Pack your bags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's rather, we're walking with you on this journey together. There's going to be some hard times. There's going to be some times where you're going to wonder, but we're here for that journey. And the journey is as important as the destination.
It's a commitment to a relationship more than just a transaction.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not a transactional as much as it is a relational approach to the journey.
Yeah. And this building journey can feel abstract to people. Sustainability can feel abstract to people. How do you make the home building experience, the sustainability, how do you make it practical and get customers involved kind of at that ground level?
It involves a lot of education. It involves a lot of discussions and stories about how sustainability works, and figuring out what's important to our clients, figuring out why saving money over the long term is a good idea, right? And showing how that can be done. And because most of our clients are interested in the long term, they want to stay in their home long term, it doesn't take much to convince them to go with sustainability.
Right. Your target customer is very different than a lot of the new build type. It's not just a new build you're looking to sell a customer. It's here's your home. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, it's a customer that says, I'm going to be in my place for 15, 20 years, and I want to make sure that during that time the home is as sustainable as possible. And paying a little bit more upfront for that pays big dividends down the road.
Right. It's a home that can grow with them, that can adapt to them as they grow within the home.
Yeah.
So what does sustainability, I mean, everyone answers that a little differently. What does sustainability when it comes to a home, what's that mean to you? What's that mean when you started the company? What was Sustainability, I think, has always been key to you. What does it mean to you?
For me, it's a big, it's an ethical decision. It's saying, I want to make the world a better place to be. I want to make my own home a better place to be. I want my family to have the best possible air quality. I want all of those things. So we take it as a complete life circle. We try to take as many aspects of life into consideration as we can. Of course, we can't do all of it, and our perspective is necessarily limited, but we have perspectives that we can add to it, and so we can create a broader circle of things that are relevant in sustainability, rather than just an air source heat pump, or rather than just insulation. It's not just that. It's a complete system kind of way of looking at it, which includes our ethics, includes our morality, includes all of who we are.
So it's not just a greenwashing. It's not just a sticker. It's a whole holistic, or treating it as a system. The whole project is a system.
Yeah, yeah, it's all parts of it. It's our relationships, it's how much money we earn on it, it's how much the client pays for it, it's how the customer relates to us, it's how we relate to our trades, how we relate to our suppliers. It's all of it.
All of it's sustainable.
Yeah.
Is driven for sustainability. So this is a bit of a, when I was coming up with these questions, this one I loved and hated, because obviously throughout the whole building process, communication really matters. But pick a specific moment in the build, whether it's the marketing, the sales, the handing over, and talk about why communication really matters, and how you ensure that the representatives in your company perform on that, do that, how they make sure communication is there properly, at any point in that customer journey.
Yeah, that's a hard one to do, to pick a specific point, because all parts of it are equally important. But I think one of the most important aspects is when there are hiccups that happen, when there are things that happen on the build site that don't go the way we wanted them to go, where a window frame cracks,
Yeah.
or
Through no fault of certain trades.
so how do we communicate at that point? Do we hide it? Or do we say, hey, this is what happened, this is what needs to happen, and this is what we're going to do about it, and how do you relate to that? So that becomes the communication pattern at that point.
Kind of leaning in when it's almost hardest in some ways.
Yes.
It might feel easier to try to hide it and just get it done and do it however fix you feel appropriate, but to lean into the communication when it's hardest ensures you do it right when it's easier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What part of the build causes more stress to the clients than they expect going into it?
I think it's all the decisions that have to be made. And many clients love those decisions, but some clients don't.
Right.
And so then we always have to be kind of in the background saying, which decisions do you want to make? Are there ones you want to pass off to us? But most of the time, customers end up saying they want to make all the decisions.
Right. And then they realize if they want to or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there is. I mean, there is. From picking everything from hinge colors and door lever styles, and to the more obvious ones like paint or countertops, or when you're custom, you're almost unlimited.
Yeah, yeah, and for many people, that's too overwhelming. And I know we've had clients who've not, potential clients who haven't come to us because they don't want to be overwhelmed with the details.
When you're sensing that, a customer either maybe leans towards not being overwhelmed or has crossed the Rubicon and is overwhelmed, what are practical ways that you deal with that? Or that you and the team, I should say, deal
Yeah,
with
so we need to make sure then that they have help if they want it with, for example, an interior designer. We can have an interior designer come in and say, hey, look, this is who we think you are, and this is how maybe you could put this together. So we help in that way. And we help by making sure that they understand they don't have to make all those choices. And if they want to back off, we'll give them a really good product, even if they back off a bit. So,
Right, right. A lot of sometimes I think there's some bulking at that, like the price of doing the design, doing the legwork, making the selections. How do you quantify the value of a good designer to help you make those selections?
yeah, because it's the stress level, right?
Right.
When if you're making all those hundreds and hundreds of choices, your stress levels can go through the roof.
Yeah.
And if you have somebody there to help you, get an interior designer that's actually there for you to help you make those decisions, you can approach them with much less stress and therefore much more confidence that you're making the right choice because you have somebody to throw your ideas up against
Mm.
that will give you good feedback on that. Uh, and so it really helps make the path straighter and the journey less bumpy.
Right, right. Well, and it's rare, I guess, that a customer takes off their full time job or pauses their family life to be
Yeah,
able to make all these decisions. So
yeah,
they imagine their current workload and now add a part time job of picking all the selections you want, if that's the route you want to go.
yeah.
There's a lot of work involved in it. So, how does your team and the relationships you've built here in Winnipeg, whether it's with interior designers or trades or vendors, how does that impact the customer's experience while they're building with Dueck?
Well, I think an important, really important aspect is that we have developed relationships with people who value relationships just as much as we do.
Hmm.
That we have not made any of this just transactional. We don't just do transactions.
Right.
We do relationships. And to know that the whole line, all our trades, all our suppliers, all care to deliver a good product is I think very important for our clients to know.
Right. And how do you weed out, or is it a natural process that they weed themselves out when they don't? How do you weed out trades or vendors that really care about relationships versus ones who just want the transaction?
Yeah, it becomes pretty obvious. I think we've hired some trades that we just will never hire again.
Yeah.
And we have trades that we've worked with for 15, 20 years now that we will keep working with because they share what we share. And so, yeah, there's a little bit of trial and error involved in it. But I think we've become better at figuring out how we relate to the trade up front before we hire them now.
Right.
Uh,
Okay. Right. And it's not just sending out quote requests to 15,000 plumbers in Winnipeg and seeing who gives you the lowest price.
no, exactly, because it has to do with quality, making sure that they're professional, making sure that that they take responsibility for quality. If
Yeah.
somebody comes in and does a job and then comes to us and says, no, this is not my fault that it didn't go quite right, it's somebody else's fault. That's a trade we will not work with again.
Right.
We will work with trades who come in and say, oh, this is my fault. Even though the previous guy didn't leave it quite the way I wanted to, I still have to do my job well. So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
And maybe there's an opportunity that trade number two can educate trade number one and say, hey, next time when you're framing, think about drywall backing or whatever. Is there anything else when you're thinking about picking trades or picking people that you work with or don't work with? Well, what's kind of your litmus test for some of that?
I think a big thing is whether they're professional, whether they're experts, and if as experts, they can still come to me and say, how would you do it?
Hmm.
And I can go to them and say, what's your best way of doing it? And so it becomes a learning opportunity both for me and for them.
Right.
Even though they're experts in their field, I want to learn from them, but I also know a lot about how everything comes together
Right.
and how all the other trades function. And so when they say, what do you think? And they genuinely ask that question, then oh, here's somebody that I can work with because they know what they're doing and they're willing to learn.
And can make it simple rather than
Exactly.
complicated.
Yeah, they can simplify it, and then they'll also take responsibility for what they do
Yeah.
because they care for the whole process.
Yeah. So I think this is a good time to talk about when a new customer, what's the Dueck process like? Like when a new customer, they're thinking about building a home and they reach out to you, kind of walk through the steps of how that journey goes from who the heck is Dueck to meeting to drawings to building to keys.
So one of the important things is when someone reaches out is that we reach out immediately to them and try to set up a time to meet. I strongly believe in face-to-face meetings. I strongly believe that we can learn a lot about each other through a face-to-face meeting.
Hmm.
And so that's what I try to set up as soon as possible, because we want to be a fit for our customers, and they should be able to trust us as well. So there's a lot of work being done in that first meeting. Does our client trust who we are? Do we trust that they are going to be good to work with?
Right. It's a bit of a two-way street in that first meeting.
Yeah.
And so it's more of a, it's not just what's your budget, no, buzz off. It's hey, let's talk. Let's see what you need and what you want out of your home.
Yeah, yeah, and even if they don't end up going with us, if we've both been able to learn something in the process, then it's worthwhile doing.
Right, right.
So,
So first meeting is they reach out and you try to meet with them. You try to get face to face, talk with them. After that, if both think it's a fit, what's the next thing that happens?
then we do some kind of budget estimate. So if they're looking for a 1,400 square foot bungalow, 2 bedrooms, then I'll sit down at the computer, go through the Excel spreadsheet, and take into consideration some of the specific aspects that they have in mind, where their lot is, how wide their lot is, those kinds of things. If they have a long driveway, there's different costs involved in hooking up sewer, that kind of thing.
Right.
So we give them a ballpark estimate that we think is within 30%,
Yeah.
so that if they have a budget, a $300,000 budget, and they're looking for a $500,000 home, now they have to make a decision.
Right.
So that comes right at the beginning of the process. Nobody wants to spend 6 months doing work on a house and then realize it's way beyond their budget.
Right.
So we try to come up early with some kind of pricing for them to say, this is what we think you will probably spend.
Okay. So not a starting at number.
No, not so much. It's more, here's what you're wanting. And if you get all that you want, this is where you're probably going to be at. We can give you a starting number to say it's possible to build this house for this amount of money,
Right.
but we think that you're going to probably want to spend this much to get what you want.
Because we heard you talk about tile walls or fireplaces or fancy roof details.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more of a, when you're presenting that first budget, it's more of a, this is what we expect you're going to spend, not like a little lead to get them in the door and say, yeah, we could build it for 500, but everything else is an extra.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we don't want to be that builder who starts out at 500 and then we end up at 800.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that our customers, when they come in and they say, yeah, we could build it for 500, but then you're going to have to make tough choices.
Right.
If we're going to build it for what you want, then your budget, you'll have to come up with that budget for it.
And
So,
that gives them an opportunity at that point to revise what they want. Maybe they want,
yes.
Instead of 3,000 square feet, maybe they want 2,500 square feet,
Yeah.
or whatever. Okay. So once that budget is, and that budget, is that a charged for item or?
No, that's part of the initial meeting, part
Oh.
of the initial getting to know them, getting to know us, and seeing how we work and why we work the way we do.
Okay. Okay. And then when they say, yeah, you know what, I do want to spend 1.2 million on the house, what's the next step?
Then the next step is designing the house, is making sure that we work together with them on a design that they like, that shows who they are. So we're looking to make sure that it's not our design that we impose on them, but it's something that comes out of who they are, how they use their space, how they live their life. And we want to make sure that a design like that is made for them.
It reflects them. It's no house is the same. Every one of our houses is
Every one of our houses is different because every one of our clients is different.
right. Right.
And so we try to design for the client, not for how we think it should be.
Not industry trend or not. We can bring that advice, we can bring that guidance or inspiration, but ultimately it's the customer making those decisions.
Yeah.
Once it's drawn up, once they say, yeah, we like it, what happens next?
What happens after that is then we have a specific pricing. So now we go to all our trades, we send them the plans and say, what kind of price are you going to do this for? and then we bring all those pricing together for the counters, for the floor, for all of that. And the more details we have at that point, the better. If they know they want a certain kind of floor, then we can price that specific floor.
Right.
If they know they want a specific kind of countertop, we can price it in at that point.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's very hard. I think you've probably been asked this a lot. What do you build per square foot?
Yeah.
And so how does this method kind of approach? Do you like giving square foot numbers, or how do you approach that question?
Square foot numbers are impossible to give because they can range anywhere from 300 to 600 a square foot, and it doesn't take into account any of their personal situation. It
Mm,
doesn't take into account their specific home and how they want it done.
right.
And so that's why we give a price for every specific home. We go through our spreadsheet. Once we've done the design, we go through specific coding process to get a really reliable number for them.
Right. And then at that point, so then we quote out the foundations quoted, the fruit, like that kind of that whole structure, the bones are all quoted. And then how do you deal with, because probably customers don't have their selections all finalized. How do you deal with kind of the, I don't know what flooring I want, but maybe hardwood. How do you deal with that?
Right. So then we put it in as a budget number.
Okay.
So now if we've got a budget number of hardwoods for $15-20 a square foot, and the price of the whole package seems to be too high, then we can go back to them and say, hey, you know what? If you reduce your flooring budget by this much, this will save that much on the project.
Right. Okay.
So we can help our customers, we can help our clients achieve the budget they want by going through it in a step-by-step manner and saying, what's important to you?
Right.
Is the shell of the house. We won't compromise on some of that, right? But there's certain things we can do, like flooring, countertops, kitchens. There's many ways that we can reduce a budget if we need to,
Right. Or increase at that
or
point.
increase it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's, I mean, yeah, you talked earlier about giving control to the customer and how cost plus gives them this budget control. And I can see when you're talking about the process how, yeah, it really does. It allows them to adjust all their sliders till they get kind of what they want.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's not up to us to do it. It's up to the client to say what's important to them.
Right. And so let's say it's a renovation project and you've set this all out, you've given kind of your budgets, and then you open up the wall and you find mold or rot or someone wasn't plumbing something right 60 years ago. Are they stuck to their budgets if they've picked their flooring and you open the wall and find mold, or how do you deal with it at that point?
Um, Unfortunately, that happens.
Yeah, yeah,
We've seen it in some of our renovations where we've opened up a wall and found that the whole wall was rotten,
yeah,
and it's structural stucco or whatever,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we've seen that happen, and so then if the flooring hasn't been purchased, we can go back to that decision and say, for example, well, you haven't purchased your floors yet, or if the countertop hasn't been purchased yet and reserved,
Right.
maybe there's alternates that we can use at that point to make sure that your budget doesn't increase too much.
Right, and vice versa. I guess if they find they've been scrolling Pinterest and they find a fireplace they love, they can throw that in there as they go. So you're saying like this budget is kind of like a living document throughout the life of the project.
Yes, exactly. It's always it's always there, and as long as it's not spent,
Yeah.
we get to change those numbers if there's ways that we can change that, right?
Right.
If somebody comes in and says, I've got these plans all made, but I want to make this and this and this and that change. Well, now as long as they know that all of those things are things that they're paying for,
Right.
wonderful. We're happy to do that.
Right. So how do you maintain that focus on teamwork, reputation, and integrity throughout that whole process as the company grows? It's been going through some growth lately. You know, there's been a project manager, there's been a project coordinator. So how do you maintain that focus on teamwork and integrity?
Well, we bring on people who share those characteristics.
Right. And
And so we've done that now with our project manager, project coordinator, our bookkeeper. All of us are focused on relational building. And I think that's crucial is the people that we bring together to do that. We keep that up with our trades. We keep that up with our suppliers.
right. Right. So it's intentional choices along the way. Are there any mistakes or lessons that you think back to now that permanently changed how the business was run? don't
Uh,
say don't say bringing me on.
that was the best decision of all.
Stick it, Mike. No, just kidding.
um, One of the big things was that I learned early, and I should have learned even earlier, is that you need to have good books.
Hmm.
You need to have somebody who's going to take care of all the books, and I think we found that even lately, sometimes when we don't take care of our books quite the way we want, doesn't it doesn't feel good.
Right, right. It makes for uncomfortable learning
Yeah.
opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that has been a huge part. And I was very lucky at the beginning to have somebody who took care of the books for me very well. So Elizabeth, shout out to you.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. I miss Elizabeth if she's listening to this.
Yeah.
Not any knock on Scout, just to
No,
be
no, not
clear.
yeah.
Just we had a great relationship. This next little section, we're going to talk about kind of the future, the vision. So, what's first off, though, I want to start with what's harder today than it was in the earlier days. What's one thing that's gotten harder over time?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the permits I think are harder. I think the city has made permits harder and harder every year. It feels like, especially in the last while.
Yeah.
So I think that's been a problem. I think the other thing that's been a challenge and not so much a problem is the rapid rise of pricing in the last 5 years.
Huh.
That's been almost overwhelming. How much prices have gone up for building a home,
Yeah.
and sometimes uh, it feels difficult when I have to tell clients, this is what your house is going to cost you. I'm really sorry,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. You almost have to apologize.
yeah,
Do an accusation audit before you present a budget.
yeah,
Well, and we've had some who we've renovated with in the past, and then 6 years go by and they want another renovation, and then you say, well, it's this tiny little renovation is going to cost as much as your big one did.
yes, yeah, yeah, and that's hard,
Yeah,
and it creates a lot of sticker shock.
yeah. You said permits have got more challenging. How, as a custom builder, applying for permits and having that unknown timeline, how does that affect the build process, the client? How do you set customer expectations?
Yeah, and here again, it's the communication is so important because it's really hard for our clients sometimes to understand why it takes so long to get permits. It feels like somebody is breaking down somewhere,
Right,
and the easiest person to blame is us.
right. Well, and we're first contact.
We're first contact. So, I don't blame them for saying what's happening with this. Why is it just sitting on your desk? The mayor is saying he's speeded everything up.
Right.
Um, our experience hasn't been that. Our experience has been that everything has slowed down in the last few years,
Yeah.
even more so than before then.
Yeah.
And so we hope that eventually it will speed up again. But for now, it's been a bit of a nightmare getting permits through.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the good old days when it was fairly predictable 6 to 8 weeks, and now it's very unpredictable 3 to 6 months,
Yes.
and sometimes longer than that. That can be tough to sell. What advice, if you could go back in time, hop in your time travel machine, what advice, if any, would you give early Dueck homes?
I think the big thing would be make more processes
Oh,
of how you relate to people and how you bill people, how you and try to stick to those processes. Um,
a reliable framework to be creative within.
yes, yeah, a reliable framework to be created within. I like how you put that because when I look at some of the biggest challenges we've had, it's been partially because I didn't know my own processes well enough. And I didn't follow my own processes that I had in my head. I didn't externalize them enough so that when push came to shove, I followed them well enough.
Right.
I had processes in my head that were there and that I followed, but I didn't externalize them enough so that I could follow them in when I got into surprising situations.
And did you find, as you've developed more and as you've communicated them more with customers, do you find that it's less surprising than to follow the process? It's easier to follow.
Yeah, it's easier to follow. It's more the muscle memory. And I was going to get back to that about farming as well, right? So looking at where I'm totally involved in where I'm at, but always having to look down the field toward the end of the field in order to get straight rows, that's kind of a muscle memory.
Huh. Yeah.
And so that kind of muscle memory is important for how we do things, the processes we have, and how we do those processes. So when you become aware of that muscle memory, that's when you can start using it a little better.
And you can write it down and you can start telling people about, well, this is what happens.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. When you think about the next decade of Dueck builders, what are principles that you will not compromise on? And what are you most excited when you're looking at that 10-year tree at the end of the field? What are you most excited about?
Well, I'm excited about the continual growth, getting more projects in, getting more people in who share our values,
Meeting more new people.
meeting more new people, getting to do unique projects.
Yeah.
That's been the fun part for the whole thing in the custom journey is doing unique projects, never having to repeat. It
Yeah.
doesn't get boring.
Yes. Yeah. New problems to solve.
Yes.
New challenges to overcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. New people to meet, new ways of relating.
Yeah. Yeah. New processes to create.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. What does success look like? And I think you kind of answered this a little bit, but beyond just profit growth, and maybe even specifically not profit growth, what does success look like for Dueck builders over the next decade? And how do you want customers to describe Dueck builders in 10 years' time?
Well, success for me in 10 years' time is when people come back to me and say, "Hey, how are you?" And say, "I'm so happy we built with you."
Hmm.
If they can do that in 10 years' time, that's going to be success.
Yeah. Yeah. And that can be done for a variety of reasons. They can be happy.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
each customer's reason is different.
Yeah.
Okay, this is now just the speed round. This is just fun. So these are just off the cuff questions. I didn't send you these, so
Oh.
there is no cheating and reading ahead. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee. Early mornings or late nights?
Oh, sometimes both.
Yeah. Beach vacation or mountains?
Mountains.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was thinking about your last vacation and it had both, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Plan everything or wing it?
Plan it by winging it.
Yeah, plan to wing it. Yeah. What's Neil's line? His if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, or he says the inverse of that somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot his line, but it's when you it has to do with muscle memory again. When you're following a process and you know how to lay it out there, then you can be winging it while following the process. So
Right. That creative framework to be creative within.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Would you rather build yourself a new home or renovate your current home?
Right now I'd rather build a new home.
The home did something to bug you. Paper and pencil or digital tools? What do you prefer?
Digital.
Digital. Uh, when you build your new home, is it going to be a clean, minimal design, or is it going to be a warm, layered? What's your design preferences?
Oh, my design preferences. Boy, that's a good question. It would have to be sustainable and warm and lots of light, lots of windows. That
Not a clinically open or clinically white, whatever build. It's a warmth and
yeah,
welcoming. And
warmth and welcoming. Yeah.
would you rather overbuild or overthink? I don't think I even know what that question means. I clearly am not overthinking.
Well, I wouldn't want to overbuild.
Yeah, okay. It reminds me, there's a True song where he says, "I've had too much to think" instead of "I've had too much to drink."
Oh.
So I can identify with that. One word clients use that you love hearing when you're talking to a new customer. What's the word they mention that really you get excited about hearing?
Thank you for meeting me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good one. Favorite part of a build? Do you prefer the start, the middle, the end?
I love the end.
Yeah, handing those keys over,
Yeah,
wrapping it up.
yeah.
And last question, if you were not a builder, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
Probably academia.
Teaching, back to school.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Cal. If anyone listening wants to hear more, how can they find you? How can they reach you?
Through my email, through my phone. Always happy to chat.
And email would be
Cal@dueckbuilders.com.
nice and simple.
Yeah, nice and simple.
Thank you. This was fun.
Thank you. Yeah, that's lots of fun.